Hello everyone, it's Amy and I am here to show you a DIY paint holder. This is for Monica. She had asked if I knew of any good ways to store her acrylic paints, her craft paints, and I had seen this a long time ago and I was always going to make one for myself, but I never did. I don't remember where I saw it. But what we're going to need is we are going to need 2 of these wire racks. Now these racks were the racks that they would put them together in squares and they would fall apart just terribly. They really didn't work very well. And I have been keeping my eyes open ever since I saw that. And now I have quite a few of these, but I look for them at garage sales, at Goodwill. You know, you may have some in your basement or your attic because they just really didn't work well as shelves. But I saw someone put them together and use them as a paint holder to hang on the wall, and it looked really great. I don't remember exactly how they did it, so I'm just kind of winging it. But so that's what you're going to need is 2 of these wire racks, and then I'm going to use 8 wooden blocks. So just kids blocks, just make sure that they're all the same size. And so I've already started this. The first thing that you're going to need to do, if I can find my other block, is take your drill and drill a hole right in the middle of your block, because we're going to attach them between the 2 layers like this. Okay, and so I'm going to show you how I attached those. And what we're going to do is this first corner here, I've done it at the top. We're going to go with this first corner and we are going to set our block. We're going to put our hole right to the inside top. Oops, sorry. Right here. Our hole's going to be on the inside. So I'm going to take my hole and I'm going to go with this first set of 4 corners, and I'm going to put my hole right here. If you were looking at this at a map, this would be the northwest corner of this first square. And then I'm just going to take 2 zip ties and put them through the holes. I want the pointy, the big part at the back. So I'm just going to take these 2 and put them up through the E. Now you can just do this even like this. Just put it through the block. Just put 2 zip ties right through that hole. Now we're going to be sitting. I need to make sure that I put my zip ties where they need to be. And what we're going to do is we are going to grab this top bar and this side bar. That's going to hold our block right here. And you can't, you have to make sure that you grab 2 ways so that it holds your block. So I'm just going to go right over my block and come around to the bottom and just put it inside and hope that I have it the right way, because I'm always notoriously for putting these in backwards, having to turn them around. Okay, I'm not going to make it super tight yet. Then I'm going to go back to the front, take my other one. Now this one, I'm going to go in it. You've got to bend it that way, but I'm going to go around the side. Hold my block where I want it. And then I'm going to go back to the back. Make sure that I'm kind of coming over the side here. And put that in around the side. Now my block is kind of twisting. See, it's kind of, so I'm just going to twist it back and hold this zip tie on this side and pull. And then I'm going to pull the other. Now what I want to do is I want this big fat part of my zip tie, I want to kind of put it down on this side of the bar just so that it's out of my way. I don't want it sticking out the back. So I'm just going to pull tight with that being just this side of the bar. I'm going to turn it because it'll be easier for me to pull this one. And again with this one, I want to bring this over so that it's on the side of the bar. I just don't want it on top of the bar where it's really going to pop out. And then I'm just going to pull that as tight as I can get it. Just make sure that you get them both tight. Now that you have one going to the side and one going to the bottom, that block isn't going to go anywhere. If you did two, or if you did the top and the bottom, what would happen is that block would slide back and forth. And so this is going to hold it right here on this corner, which is going to make this good and sturdy and hold it apart like that. That's all we're trying to do. If you don't have blocks and you have something else that you can put between these two, you want them to be about an inch or so apart. You know, just whatever you have around. I had blocks here, so that's what I used. And I'm just going to snip these off really close. Okay, and I'm going to show you that one more time. So this is our front. So on our front, we've got just like this. There's our top, and there's our first one on the bottom. And I've got one more to put here. And this one, again, I'm going to put it right, my hole is right here. So I'm just putting that right in that corner there. And again, I'm going to take 2 zip ties and put them in. Well, actually, I'll just, again, it's easier to put them in the block before I'm holding the whole thing. I want the wide part of my zip tie to be at the back. I'm going to come up through this first little corner here. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of them. I can't get this super in frame because my tripod's in the way. Okay, I've got this right here, and I'm going to take one and go over the top of the block and around the back. And then I'm just going to flip this over. Put my block in where it belongs, and then just go get the other one out of the way and just push right through there. Just like that. Don't make it super tight. Now I'm going to take my other one, and I'm going to come around the side, little bar here, just like that. So I've got one going over the top and one coming sideways, and my block is moving because I'm not tight yet. And so I'm just going to come over here and make this one fit inside the other one. Okay. And now I'm just going to hold my block there at that corner. I'm going to pull this one tight, trying to make sure that I try and pull the top of this zip tie over a little bit. There we go, and make that tight. And I'm going to make sure I bring this one around the side. And again, I want to make sure that my big part right there, the fat part's going to kind of go to the side. Make that really tight. There we go. And just clip off those long parts. Okay. So now this is what we have, and this is really solid. It's not going to squish together. And this will then hold your paints. So your paints will hold in there. But the way that I saw it, they hung it on a wall. Now, if you wanted to, you could just build yourself a tray that this would sit inside. If you want it to sit on your desk, I would put a tray under it just for the fact of when you pick this up, you don't want all your paint coming out the bottom. And also, if you had any of your paints spill, they would spill into that tray. And just take a cardboard box and just measure your dimensions and just make a little tray for that, and then you can just pick it up and carry it anywheres. I always store my paints upside down, and that's why I'm saying, you know, you don't want your paints to spill all over the place, because I store my paints this way, and I do that not only so that I can see the color, but it keeps the paint at the top of my jar. And so that makes it so that like less air can get in there. I feel that if I store it this way, all the paint is sitting down here and air could get into there and just dry out my paint faster. So that's why I store my paint this way, for both of those reasons, for color and for the fact of I think it makes my paint last longer. I don't have any proof. That's just what I think. So, but the way that they did it was they hung it on a wall. And so they hung it like this. So now what we're going to have to do is we are going to need to put some kind of a spacer, because see, your bottles stick out the back there, and they need to, because they need to catch on both of the racks in order for them to stay in place. So we need to put something now on the back here to space this out, so that when we hang it on the wall, these paints will not be touching the wall. Now the only thing that I would, and you can, this right now is just catching at the lip of the lid. You could make it very straight so it goes like that. But the only thing where I would have any kind of a thought was, you know, if this could possibly drip on your wall if one of these was not closed tight or came open. So you might want to hang something behind it on the wall and put something under it if you are going to hang it on the wall. But it also, like I said, would work as a great tray, but it would take up quite a bit of space. We're hanging on your wall. If you have wall space, it wouldn't take that much. So I'm going to go and figure out how to make my space on the back now that I have this all together, and I know exactly, now I can figure out how I'm going to put my spacer back here so that we don't touch the wall, and then I'll be back to show you how to do that. Okay, I'm back and I have it figured out. So for this whole project, what you're going to need is you'll need 2 of these wire shelves. You will need 8 blocks, and you will need 16 long zip ties. I think I forgot to tell you the zip ties were in there. What I have done is we already put our 4 corners on, and so what I've done is I've just drilled a hole in 4 more blocks, and I'm going to put those on the back. So they're out here like this, so they will hold it off the wall that far. Then when you put your paint in there, you put your paint in like that, and it won't touch your wall. It will be just off the wall. And so how I did that was I used the same corner as I used for the ones in the middle, and all I did, I just have to make sure I put it in the right spot. Okay, because they have letters on them that mean something to me. So, okay, so we're just going to take again, we're going to take our zip ties and put them through the hole of our block that we drilled in the middle. And then we are going to line this corner of our block up with our 2 zip ties that we've already used. We're going to kind of slide it right in there. That's where we're going to set it, right there. And then we are just going to take 1 zip tie and go over the side here, putting that in our corner. Do I have it the right way? I'm not sure. I think, oh, I do this all the time. No, that's not the right way. I have to turn that around. Okay, put your zip ties in your holes the right way. And then we're just gonna put it in this corner, go over this bar right here, and then the other one's gonna go over this bar right here. They're actually the same bars that we used before, just in a little bit of a different place. Now with these, you're going to want to make sure that your pokey from your zip tie is on the side of your block, because that block is going to sit against your wall. And so you don't want that pokey from the zip tie sitting out here on this flat part. You know, you'll have a little bit of the plastic there, but you don't want the big pokey part there. And then you just want to pull that really tight. Take the other one and come through around this bar here, around this bar. I'm going to slide that down to where it needs to be. And again, make sure that you bring the large part of your zip tie down around the side of your blocks. And just make them really tight. With these ones, because they're on the side, I'm not getting them as tight. So I just took a pair of pliers and kind of pushed on the large, kind of pushed that in and pulled this out. Just kind of pushed against the big part and then pulled on the string. I'm not actually pinching my thing, I'm just using them to push. Let's see if I can show you that. So here's the large part of the zip tie. I'm just kind of setting them on there like that, so I can push that down and hold it and then pull up on this string to just try and get it as tight as I possibly can. And Papa says put some glue on it. So we'll do that too. Just gonna cut my little tails off. So now we've got this one on here. And then what we can do is just put some form of super glue, E6000 or something, you know, right where these things are all touching. And that will make it even sturdier. So for the last one, I'll show you it one more time. We are going to go into the corner of the zip ties that we have here already. We've got these two zip ties. We're going to go right here like this. And make sure that your block is the way that you want it. Put your zip ties through there. I lost one. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to put my zip ties through, set it in this corner, and I'm going to come around this way. And then the other one is going to come across this bar here. The first one went on this bar here. The first one in. This one I want to adjust before I tighten it to make sure I get that big part over on the side. You just really want to make sure that on the first ones you kind of want the big part in the back so they don't show. But on these ones you want them on the side so they don't touch your wall. And then just tighten that up. And you can use, I'm using blocks because it's what I had here. If you can think of something else that you have there, you know, to put as your spacers, all you have to do is have an inch or an inch and a half or so space between your two grids, and then the same amount of space, an inch and a half, on the back to hold it off the wall so that your lids have a place to stick through. So I'm just gonna hold the big part down here. Just holding my big part of my zip tie and then trying to pull on that, pull and push. And then I'll do this one here. Just kind of put my pliers on each side of the big part, pull up on my zip tie, push down on the big part. Not really getting it any tighter. And then I'll just cut those off. Now this one is really quite loose, so definitely I'm going to have to put some glue on that. So here is my paint thing, and it says on the top, it says LOVE, and underneath it says AJN and S, and that is for Amy, Jeff, Nicole, and Stephanie. That is my family, my two girls and my husband. So this is what it looks like when you put your paints in there. They are not going to touch the wall because of this. I'm going to put a heavy duty cord from like corner to corner, just kind of up and down, so that I can hang it on the wall in the middle of that cord, and that way I can adjust it any way that I want to adjust it. And that's how I'm going to do this. I will fill this up and show you what it looks like. Well, I'm probably not going to fill it up, but I'm going to put some paints in it and I'll show you what it looks like hanging. And I think I might even build a little backing box for it and show you that too. So this is the paint holder that you can make out of two of these little grids from the old storage crates that never did work very well. And I did not make this up. I saw this somewhere a long time ago. I can't tell you whether it was YouTube, Pinterest. Well, it couldn't have been Pinterest because I don't think Pinterest was even around then. But it's been a long time since I've seen it. And that's why I started actually collecting these grids, because I didn't have any. And then once I got the grids, I never did make it. So this is the way that it turned out. I'll show you what it looks like with some paint in it in just a second. Okay, here it is all finished, and I had to hang it in my hallway, so I had a place where I could get back far enough for you to see it, and it works really well. So it will hold 65 of these jars of craft paint. Those are the 2-ounce jars. And then the 4 corners, in each of the 4 corners, you'll lose 4 squares because of the blocks being in the way. But you might be able to put a tube of craft paint or something in those smaller spaces. So this is what it looks like, and I'll see if I can show it to you from the edge. It looks like this. And I did put the jars all the way back to the wall because they wanted to kind of tip out if I put them just like to the edge there. Some of them stayed, and some of them kind of wanted to tip out. So I just went ahead and I put them all the way in. And you can put a piece of paper or something behind that so it doesn't touch your wall. But this is what it turned out like. And I hope that you liked it. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.